What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm Lindsay. That's Gerald. That's Flex. That's Espo. And Chelsea might make an appearance. If you know, you know. It's been a spicy Tuesday over here. How are you guys doing?
I was good till Chelsea came rolling through the office, but other than that, I'm great.
It's glad to know you think this is a retirement home and you're carrying Flex and my ass around here.
Right.
You don't even show up on Monday. I got to host a show.
I mean,
I feel like 50 Cent right now. Like I just took 9 shots.
I don't think that reference is helping us, all right?
I just
He's
took.
cackling.
We gonna make an LL Cool J reference next?
Yo, 50 Cent. Yo, 50 Cent is not there. He's still relevant.
Oh, no. 50 Cent ain't relevant. I met him at a Suns game hawking vodka. That dude ain't relevant anymore.
I wasn't even the one who threw any shade. Now you guys are throwing shade at each other.
man.
Wasn't 50 Cent playing at like halftime shows recently?
No, man. 50.
He did it at Suns. He did it at Suns game, and when they opened that
Yo, I
effing vodka
still-
lounge.
Vodka lounge, yeah.
Man, I still
It was
bump.
effing stupid.
I
That was
Sorry.
10 years ago.
I still bump 50 in my car. Like, oh man, y'all are killing
I got
me.
pictures.
I am, man. I'm an East Coast guy. 50 Cent, man. Come on, come on, man.
Okay. Fitty hasn't been popular, and I have photos from when I was at the Suns of him in the locker room with those really shitty teams and Sarver. That's how long he hasn't been relevant, my friend.
That's tough.
God, I try to defend us, and you come in with that,
the old
man.
stuff.
That's rough.
Man.
I didn't even say a single thing.
He just started talking about Motown and you know.
Now we're gonna talk about Sexy Red.
Oh.
Ski. Like, come on, man.
All right. Well,
All right,
welcome in, everybody. We're happy to have you here with us for all of the shenanigans, but we will talk some legitimate things and Suns basketball in this program. First and foremost, we do have to start with injury updates.
Mhm.
We got word today that Devin Booker is out for tomorrow's game, and Bradley Beal is questionable. This came from Dwayne Rankin, who was with the team at practice. Frank Vogel also had some additional things to say about it, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, he's gonna be questionable for tomorrow. Got some good work in yesterday. Got some live work in today. It looks good. We just got to make sure we see how he feels from the work today. See how he responds to it, his body responds to it. But he'll be listed as questionable for tomorrow.
Did he get a full practice in or today?
Yeah.
Or okay,
Yeah.
okay. How nice is that? It's been a minute since he.
Yeah, it's great to see him doing his thing in his son's uniform, and soon fans will get a chance to see that as well.
Curious with Devin, what did he do today?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just some light shooting at the end of practice. He'll be out tomorrow.
Okay. Curious when you're just looking at a guy that wants to play, is always itching to play, but then you got to explain to him that this is a marathon, not a sprint. How are those conversations with him?
Just like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and he's got a good feel. Like he wants to be in there, but you can tell when something's not quite right, and it's not going to do something that's going to compromise a bigger chunk of games to just play in one.
Can I just say, I love when Dwayne is curious.
He's
Because
curious a lot.
that usually means that Frank Vogel is going to give him a sarcastic response to start.
I'm done, man.
Yeah, but it's the curiosity that makes you a very good journalist,
It
right,
is.
Gerald?
It
You
is.
have to have a natural curiosity.
Mhm.
I love Dwayne. I'm just
I know.
giving
I'm
Dwayne
just giving you a
time.
hard time now, too.
Like, sorry, I interrupted.
No,
you. Go
no,
ahead,
y'all
my
ain't
friend.
interrupt nothing. The GM of the company's over here interrupting stuff, man. Like 50 Cent, bro. Come on, so man, come on, bro. I know you got Get Rich or Die Trying in the car right
He
now.
totally
Yeah,
does.
I
he's got
know
it
he
on a
does.
cassette tape.
I know he does. Stop, man. Come on, man. right, look,
All right, we got
let's
any
get back
updates?
there. Let's get
Anything?
no. So listen, we talked last week, right? Brad Beal's on pace. Look, I can't do this. I can't. This is a hostile work environment right now,
I
yo.
literally have not said a single thing
the
to
GM
any of you guys.
I done got shot 9 times for the show. From Chelsea. Is it Chelsea?
Yeah, it's Chelsea.
Chelsea. The
Chelsea's in full
GM
effect.
been killing me all morning, sending me to the wrong places, and
Deep
now,
breaths.
yeah, deep breath.
breaths.
So listen, Brad Beal's doing great. That was great reporting by Dwayne. We talked about it last week. This was the target date. This was probably subliminally the target date all along for both of them, right? Book was able to get back on the court. Unfortunately, he has a very mild strain calf. When I say mild, it's mild. It's not much for people to worry about, but they're going to be very cautious. I can say this about Book. I do think he'll miss the Chicago game, the Laker game, and the Sunday's game at OKC. I think those 3 games, you can pretty much chalk it up. He's going to be out. And then I think we graduate to the next phase, which is going to be more like day-to-day. And so we're at a week right now. We'll get through the rest of this week, and I think Book will be back sometime early next week, maybe around, that takeover game. So if you ain't get your takeover tickets, go get them.
Perfect segue.
Because, I mean, this might be the debut of the Big 3. I don't want to miss that, so come chill with us.
I mean, wouldn't that be the greatest thing ever to have the debut of the Big 3 be our takeover game? I mean, the timeline's kind of like...
We put it together.
Yeah.
That way.
It's kind of
It's
coming
falling into
together
place.
really perfectly,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
can get your tickets at gophnx.com. By the way, it's for November 15th when we take on the Timberwolves. And a ticket also includes a ticket to the game as well as food and beverage at the Desmond pregame. So
Yes.
again,
Yeah.
go PHNX.com.
And even if it's not the day that the Big 3 are all back on the court together, like Minnesota's a good team.
Yeah,
They're 4-2.
Anthony Edwards, yeah.
They have one of the best defenses in the league. They just went toe-to-toe with Jason Tatum and the Celtics in overtime the other night. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Rudy Gay will touch your microphone after the game for you.
Rudy Gobert?
Or Gobert.
Yeah.
excuse me.
Rudy,
I hope
he's
not.
showing his age now.
Rudy Gay's at the retirement home with Flex and I. But yeah.
50.
How about Beal? What are you hearing on the Beal front?
Bill's looking good. I mean, I'm very optimistic about him playing tomorrow. I am. Again, with bad backs, and we're not. I don't want to say bad backs. I don't want to scare people, but with any back injury,
Right.
it's really a day-to-day thing. You want him to get up tomorrow after what he did today and feel good. And if that happens, I think Beal makes his return tomorrow. And then, like I said, Book's right around the corner. And so we should be excited. We should be excited that things are moving in the right direction, and that the Devin Booker news that we got this weekend is not anything that people should be fearful of. I know I've gotten a lot of DMs and a lot of texts. How bad is it? How bad is it? It's not bad at all. They're just going to be very cautious and do the right thing.
Yeah. And the only thing I'll add to that is when we were asking Frank Vogel about Beal's back initially, because there were those 2 practices leading up to the season opener, and he was talking about we have to see how he responds to the work. Those situations, he didn't practice fully. They didn't have like
That's
full
right.
practices at that point, and the back didn't respond well. At this point, he is practicing fully, as Vogel said. So that tells us he's progressing. He's moving. He's getting a lot closer. So hopefully it is tomorrow. But if it's not, like Friday is the day, and I think he'll be back by the end of the week. So this is encouraging stuff, because honestly, if you look at their schedule for the rest of the week, they're up against the Chicago team that has not been very good this season. And then they got the Lakers, who I think are 3-4 with their 2 guys healthy. And Anthony Davis just tweaked his groin, I think. So these are both winnable games if you have even just 2 of the Big 3 available.
Yeah, and like you said, Gerald, like Bradley Beal being, because what did they call it on Saturday before the game? Like an intense practice, something along those lines that Bradley Beal went through to see how his body would react. Like we're seeing progress. We're putting the pieces of the puzzle together from all the things that we know, plus the things that are being said out loud, that the progress is being made. So it's just a matter of time at this point, which will be a huge positive for us. And also just a lot more enjoyable from a viewing perspective, right? Like we've been clamoring to see this Big 3. We're getting closer and closer by the day. But I thought it was interesting too when Frank Vogel was kind of tiptoeing around, how do you protect a player from himself when they
He
have
smiled.
such
He
a
smirked. He saw that.
such a drive to be out there on the court playing basketball every night. So he gets it's a delicate situation, just like we talked about this weekend. Like there's a give and take. It's tough because you have a superstar that you have to balance that, but then you also have a medical staff who's bringing you different things to the table, and so it's a delicate dance, if you will.
I love Frank's wink, wink. I know what's going on here, and I'm going to let you know I know, but I'm not going to say anything that's going to cause any waves. So.
Yes.
And you made a point this weekend, Lens, about everyone agreeing to kind of let things chill out a little bit.
Yeah, we all made a pact in case you missed it.
We all
You're
made
in
a
on
pact.
it.
That's right.
I speak for all of us.
Right. And so I say that to say, Beal's progressing. Now, if we come here tomorrow and Brad Beal's out,
then we'll see Brad Beal on Friday.
That's
hopefully.
it. Exactly what Gerald is doing right there. Just chill out.
It'll be
Because the same argument about, hey, Book kind of forced his way back a little earlier, and then you see what happens. We don't want these guys to come back because of a narrative or because they feel bad about something. No one feels worse than Brad Beal right now.
Yeah.
He just got here, and that guy wants to play. But we don't want anyone to feel like they need to come back because of narratives. Let them get right, and then we'll have a very fun season to look forward to.
That's why the load management thing kills me, because these guys, A, want to be out there,
Yeah.
B, like they hear all this shit that's being said about, they can't stay healthy, and they're never going to play Brooklyn Nets 2.0, all this shit. And if anything, they need to be protected from themselves from not going out there too early. So hopefully they're going to continue to, hopefully Book learned from the last 2 times he's done this and takes it easy coming back.
I know we briefly touched on this, and I know it's not really on the rundown. Sorry, Lindsay, but the whole 65 games, all these things. I think the money being tied to how many All-NBAs you make, and for some of these guys that part doesn't matter, but the award stuff, I think it adds this weird incentive to try to push yourself back faster, which I don't think the owners did themselves any favors with this rule, because they created the monster by letting load management happen. The players got comfortable with that idea, and now they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle, where it may force some guys into a situation where they don't really want to be considering, should I come back now because I'm about to hit that threshold and I want a shot at MVP because that means something to my legacy. I don't think that's fair to the players.
I have a feeling it's going to change after this season because, listen, it's inevitable that some of the top guys in this league are going to miss that mark. And it's going to be an egregious error that they are not a part of these awards and these All-NBA teams. And everyone's going to be ripping the NBA for it. There's going to be a little bit of movement there as far as how many games you're allowed to miss. Because everyone's going to just have an issue with it when it inevitably happens.
Well, I've been saying this from the day they announced it. Like 65 games was too high. You only get to miss 17 games for the whole season. And if you look at just the list of the last couple years of guys who made even All-NBA teams, like there would have been guys who had tremendous seasons who were defining players in that season who wouldn't have qualified based on those parameters. Like 60, that makes sense to me. Somewhere around the 60 mark range. 65 is too high. But 55 to 60 is what it should come down to.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, at some point, just do away with it. Like, look, if a guy plays well enough in 50 games that he has a season that you can't deny he should be MVP, I'm sorry, the fact that he didn't reach some arbitrary number shouldn't. Some guy averages 40 and 10 in 50 games, and you're going to tell me he doesn't deserve, and I know that's a big hypothetical, but that's, to me, that's why it's ridiculous.
No, we talked about it off the show. If you ask most people who the best players in basketball are, it's Giannis and Joker, right? What happens if a guy like Giannis and Joker, and I blessed him, we don't wish any injuries, but what happened if a guy like Giannis and Joker, day one, opening night, gets an injury, an ankle or a hamstring, nothing season ending, but they got to miss 15 games to start the year. They're done.
Right.
Like you're telling me that one of the best players is done.
Yeah.
That's it. He can't qualify for anything. That's gonna happen. I'm telling y'all, if they keep this in place, that's gonna happen. It's gonna be bad for the league because you want the best players to be recognized. And so I think this summer they'll sit back and they'll adjust that tremendously.
Well, and I also think I don't know, it kind of opened the door for a lot more conversation around load management and rest. Like literally game 2 of the season, that was the narrative everywhere. It was like, oh, well, is the NBA going to trigger an investigation for the Suns now? And it's like, bro, the investigation is for rest or load management, not for injuries.
Yeah.
And I guess you could ask the question, are these legitimate injuries? And they're allowed to do that based on what they've determined with these rules. But it's like, you really think people are load managing game 2 of the season? And now it's just, I don't know, it just kind of has put a little bit of a bad taste, I feel like, as far as the way that the NBA is talked about. They did that to themselves almost. They kind of kicked themselves by creating this thing that now people are talking about, and it's becoming very negative around the league as a whole, when in reality, who's actually load managing? Maybe a handful of players.
Right.
And
not realistically that many are legitimately load managing that often.
Punish the franchise, don't punish the players, because this load management started with the teams. So a punitive in terms of draft picks, if you catch a team load managing, those kind of things, that's where it needs to go. Yeah. So, sorry to get on a soapbox, but for me, we all know how driven Devin Booker is. And so you see a guy want to push to get back because that may be in the back of their head. And I just don't think that's fair to the player, because of course they want to be in the MVP conversation. It means something to these guys.
You know what bugs me out too is, the number 65, right? Joel Embiid was the MVP last year. Anybody want to take a guess how many games he played? 66. Okay, so it almost feels like they looked at that and it was like, okay, you know what?
Sure, let's do it there.
Yeah, let's just put it there.
Right.
But that tells you that we had an MVP that played 66 games last year. You tell him one game, and Joel's disqualified. Right? Best player in basketball last year. I don't like it.
You know who I blame? The Nuggets, because they wanted Jokic, and they went, if we can get Embiid disqualified and maybe Giannis because of injury, Jokic can get it again. Damn you, Nuggets! Damn you!
Every year.
Tinfoil hat coming in strong. I like Brian's tinfoil hat, though. Brian said the NBA, the things the NBA scriptwriters have to come up with just to get Tatum an MVP, LOL. Yeah. Look at all these great tinfoil hats here on a Tuesday afternoon.
Hey, can I show one thing before we move on?
Okay.
Eric, do you have that ready? Look at that. That is me in the same row as freaking 50 Cent. That was 12 years ago. And I'm like, that's me right there typing on a computer, 3 people down, 50 Cent. Don't act like you
had to go there, man.
Don't act like you know the man.
You had to go
there. If he's cool, I'm cool too. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, Rubes, I see what you're doing over there, buddy. I see what you're doing. Okay.
You hate to see it.
Okay. That's a good one.
But listen, I have a really good thing that will turn this all the way around.
What's that?
$200 in bonuses. You can get your hands on $200 in bonuses when you open a free checking account online at Desert Financial Credit Union. Yay! We have a new partner, everybody.
Let's go.
Welcoming into the program, Desert Financial Credit Union. For more than 84 years, they have been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions to make lives better. And right now, when you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. So get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Also, with the holidays just around the corner, you might be like, how do I maybe keep eating a little bit better without fully giving up the greatness that comes with Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holiday food? Well, Hero Bread has got your back, you guys.
Make your
Hero
stuffing
Bread.
with that stuff.
That's actually a great idea.
There you go.
They make sliced bread, buns, tortillas, and they are all available on hero.co or on Amazon. And they've got low carb options. They've got different, they've got like high protein type stuff going on. Super great options for you no matter what kind of dietary needs or restrictions you're sort of looking for. And right now, Hero Bread is offering listeners 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use the code PHNX to save on Hero Bread today. That is hero.co. And you save 10% today with that code PHNX.
Flex, you know what's great about that? It's got the right kind of fiber to keep you regular at your age. So
Damn, man.
Yo, man. I'm telling y'all, man.
Damn.
Like,
Lindsay started this.
I still have not said a single thing on this program. I have not
crazy.
said a
Y'all just
single
taking
thing on this
shots,
program.
Next thing they gonna be you call me Stevie Wonder. So, like,
Oh, no.
I see what y'all doing here. Y'all just taking shots.
Another real topical.
Y'all just take all y'all shots. Hey, is somebody in the chat telling me the best retirement home in Arizona? Because I'm looking. I'm almost there. I need a nice little place. It got to have a pool.
You can come live at mine. We got a nice one.
Gotcha.
It's brutal, man.
All right. So over at gophnx.com, Gerald wrote a fantastic article called 7 Stats or Less, Which Suns Early Season Trends Are Real and Which Ones Are Fluke. So we're not going to go through all of them on this program, but we are going to go through a couple of them. So if after this conversation you'd like to dive even deeper into this and get more insight, that article again is at gophnx.com. It was really well written, Gerald.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys go read it. We're going to start off talking about Yusuf Nurkic and him shooting 50% at the rim. Gerald?
Yeah, so this one is a tough one because Nurkic, and we've been talking about this since the DA trade, he is not the finisher that DA is. DA was around like 77 or 76% at the rim last year. Nurkic was at like 63. And he's never been a great finisher at the rim, but he's got to be better than 50% because that's really, really bad for a big man. And I think part of it for me is, as much as we talk about, you know, Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, Jordan Goodwin, all these guys that are going to benefit from the big three being whole, I think Nurk is going to benefit as much as anybody because he is not meant to be playing with just Kevin Durant and a couple of good but not great guards. If you put him with those two superstars and KD, a lot of the stuff that he does stands out. And as a result, those rolls that he has to the basket, we saw it in the 2 games where KD and Book both played. His quality of looks around the rim are wide open. They're a lot better than what we've seen in the handful of games where it's just been KD out there. Now, Nurk is never going to be a great finisher at the rim, but he can be better than the 50% that we're seeing so far. But I am curious your guys' thoughts in terms of what you've seen from Nurk's finishing so far.
Yeah, well, we had talked about this a little bit on the post game the other day. To your point, I think it's the without the gravity of the big three out there. You know, I love Grayson, I love Eric Gordon, but those guys aren't drawing double teams. Those guys aren't drawing guys out of the lane. So it makes it much more difficult, and it kind of devalues the passing that Nurk has too, because you know, that's part of it. That gravity is going to find guys too on that. So like you said, I think it gets a lot easier when he's part of a group that he's supposed to be part of. And we heard in his post-game comments from the locker room the other day, I believe it was Dwayne that got him, you know, where you could tell Nurk's just like, what do you want me to do? We're trying to make the best of the current situation we're in. And I think that's a fair way to look at it.
You know what? Nurk was brought here to be the guy that kind of is the glue guy for the big three. He wasn't brought here to be the second guy you hone in on.
Right.
And if you're being honest and you go out there and with the lineup we got, it's KD. And then you kind of want to focus on Nurk. And then anything else kind of. So he's getting the attention that a second guy would get when he should be getting the attention of a fifth guy. Right? And so that makes a dramatic difference in the game of basketball. 50% is not ideal. Right? It's not ideal. I think he's going to live somewhere around where you talked about that 60% range. That's probably where he'll live. But I think you're going to see a tremendous uptick in what he brings to the table when the big three comes back. I know we don't like to talk about preseason, but I mentioned it the other day. The Nurk you saw in that Portland game in the preseason where he almost got a triple-double at the half, that's the Nurk that you're probably going to see a lot more of once the big three comes back. But until they're back, and he's getting the attention of a second guy, it's not going to look good. And then the last thing is the sample size, Gerald. Like, he can easily go 5 for 5 tomorrow.
Boost that
and
number.
that boosts up, significantly. So it's really too early to get into that, but I think he'll be fine.
I think we got so used to looking at the center position as supposed to be, also this dynamic scorer, all these things that we expected for 5 years. But part of this is you did accept in this trade that you took a step down in terms of talent for fit without the guys that he's supposed to fit with. That talent isn't enough to necessarily carry you the way that you wanted. I'm more concerned on the defensive end than I am on the offensive end with Nurk. Things will pan out once they get the guys together.
Right. And I went through and looked at his 28 shots at the rim, just went back through the film. And there's a big difference between the games where those two were out there versus when it was just KD, in terms of, like, he's seeing more attention. There are more trees in the paint.
Yeah.
And because he's at an athletic disadvantage, when he's in those situations, he kind of rushes it.
Yeah.
And when he's, got an open lane to the basket, you don't have to rush those things, and he's able to concentrate and finish. He's had a couple of decent finishes, but my biggest thing is, like, when he knows that he's at that disadvantage, he'll try and hit the big with a pump fake and then put his shoulder into him and throw up a hook shot. He's 3 for 9 on hook shots so far this season. DA was an automatic weapon as a hook shot, even last year when he kind of regressed. Like, Nurk is not that guy looking through his career numbers, so it's something to keep an eye on. He will hopefully get better looks than the ones he's had to take where he's having to pump fake. The guy doesn't go for it. He sticks his shoulder in and throws up a hook trying to draw contact. Hopefully those shots won't be as often or as frequent as what we've seen.
So a couple of things from the chat. Go to Tech Review said Nurk is trying too hard to do more than is expected role. Once that settles, he'll be fine. And I think a lot of that settles when the big three is out there playing with him. Triple B said, quote, the fit for Nurk will happen when Book and Beal get back. Yeah. And then Tashi said, I'm not giving my opinion on Nurk until everyone on the court or everyone is on the court. Mm-hmm. And I just think that I brought it up over the weekend too. If we're going to extend a little bit of grace to some of the guys who are playing out of position, we should extend it to guys like Nurk as well, who are playing without the guys they should be playing next to, who make life a lot easier. Like, I think we all knew we weren't going to get, the most athletic, the most dominant big in the world when Nurk came to the Suns, but he understood his role. We all kind of understood what his role was with the guys who he is supposed to be playing with. Things are going to look a little bit better. He's going to be better, and when he does make a mistake, it's not going to be as egregious.
Yeah, look, they wanted Walmart Jokic, and when you look at the passing, they've gotten some of that. That's what they were looking for offensively. Needs to be better at the rim, needs to grab some more boards, but I think 10, 15, 20 games in, that will even out.
Yeah. All right. One of the next things we're going to look at are how many points the Suns are giving up in the paint. So this year, so far, 56 points in the paint per game, 29th in the NBA. The only team to trail the Suns are the Indiana Pacers. Womp womp.
This one, I think, could be a real problem. It's not going to be this bad all season, being next to last in this category, but defensively, and we knew this would be a big concern coming in terms of being able to keep opponents in front of them when they target Nurkic in pick and rolls. And I'm not trying to pick on Nurkic with these first two stats that we're throwing out there, because it is a team thing. It is a team thing. But, we saw in the first game, Chris Paul get the driving lane past Nurkic when he switched on to him late in the game twice for and one layups. We saw in the Lakers game, they closed out the Suns with 3 plays where they targeted Nurkic in the pick and roll in the fourth quarter. LeBron James got a layup out of all 3 of them. This is one of the greatest players of all time, obviously, but it is something where teams are going to go back to that well as long as they can. And so for me, I'm keeping an eye on what happens when the Suns bring Nurk up to the level of the screen, because they have done that a little bit. And this is a guy that primarily plays in the drop, conceding jump shots, trying not to give guys driving lanes. But when he's up to the screen and he's known that that's the scheme that we're running on this set play, he's been okay. And the Suns have done a lot of pre-rotating stuff where they'll rotate guys over to tag his rolling big man and then scramble, trying to play the passing lanes, trying to anticipate where the ball might go next to kind of cover for Nurk while he's recovering. And on those plays, it's looked okay. There's still a lot of room to grow. It's a long season. They don't have Bradley Beal and Devin Booker out there. And I think we can all agree at this point, Booker is a very engaged defender for the most part. So that'll help things. But these are the things that we want these guys to stay healthy so they can get as many reps as possible doing those, because you don't build defensive trust and know-how overnight. It takes running these things as a group, learning from failure and getting better, communicating all that stuff to build that chemistry, and that just takes time.
Right. This is one that is intriguing, Gerald, because it goes back to the big three. The answer to this, from my perspective, is simply the big three. And I'm going to explain why. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this because it sounds like that's not championship basketball. But in this era, the way the game is played, this team, some of their best defense is going to be their offense. Okay? And the reason why I think this goes back to the big three is real simple. When you have the big three, you're going to have leads. And teams are going to be less inclined to try to play the 2-for-3 game. Okay, they're going to be less inclined to try to go into the paint and take advantage of Nurkic when they're down 15 or 20. They're going to try to spread the ball a little bit and get back in the game shooting a 3-ball. So organically, that number will drop once the Suns start playing better and they start to get some of these leads that they're built to do. So that's why I say their offense is going to be their defense, because they're going to put so much pressure offensively that teams are not going to be able to expose that flaw on the Suns as much as I think they should, just because they're going to be out of basketball.
Does
that make sense?
No.
I mean, I'd also be interested in seeing where they rank if you take the two Spurs games against Wemby and a lot of that points in the paint that he generated as well. Again, it's tough with 7 games. Little things can skew it too, but I think you make an astute point when it comes to the way they're handling the pick and roll with him right now. And how does that change? How does Frank Vogel adjust? Because all we've heard is defensive genius, right? Which means he's probably still trying to experiment and understand what he has and the best way to utilize everybody. Because it's one thing to see it on film with a guy. It's another thing to see it when you're calling the shots. And it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts as well to put these guys in a better position.
And it's important to note too that, like, despite how many points in the paint they're giving up, they're still ranked 10th in defensive rating right now, despite the way that they, gave up 115 to the Spurs in back-to-back games. They're still a top 10 defense. So even with Nurk out there, the questions about whether he's playable down the stretch of close games, they've still been good on that end. The problem is when you play good teams in the playoffs, they're going to target your weaknesses more methodically. And so that's when that'll become more of a concern. But it's good they're trying these different things, these pre-rotations. They're going to mix up the coverages, been playing up to the level, blitzing, that type of thing. So it's good that they're getting these reps now. And hopefully everybody gets healthy soon so they can get reps with the guys that are going to be out there more often.
That's right. I mean, something we're seeing a lot of is the zone defense. I mean, everybody's doing it. Y'all can talk all the trash y'all want about the zone
making a comeback.
Talk all y'all want, man. Hey, flex plays winning basketball.
They've been scouting the YMCAs to come up with new defensive strategies. I love it.
I haven't watched a game so far where I haven't seen some variation of the zone defense from teams. I mean, they're all over the place. And so I'm also wondering at what point when we get a full deck of cards through the Suns, start dropping into their own little zone if Nurk is that much of a liability, because that's going to help that. So it's a long season, but I'm with you. Playoff time is when we got to worry about that. I don't think the regular season is going to be too much of an issue.
Yeah, and I will say the pick and pop bigs, if teams have those, that's going to be a rough weapon, a rough matchup for the Suns, just because a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, for example, or Brook Lopez, like those are guys that could hurt you if they're hitting that night.
It's going to be some adjustment that we'll have to figure out. It's also an adjustment for Big Vernon, who sent us a super chat and said, bruh, I forgot time doesn't go back in Arizona. LOL. Glad you made it to the show. In case you are an out-of-towner who tunes into the program, don't forget, We don't play by them rules. 3 p.m. is 3 p.m. in Arizona all year around. So make sure you adjust for that so you can join us for all of our shows.
Yeah, we don't play time zone here. All right. So.
Yeah.
Keep on, guys. I love it. Keep on.
I'm gonna take so much crap for me.
I got
You
an
know,
impersonation for each and every one of y'all at some point, and I'm telling y'all, I'm coming for y'all.
Again, I have not said a single thing on this program. I'm just letting
It was
you
what
all
you did
know.
pregame, Lynn.
I
No.
didn't do anything.
Let me say
Tripping.
this. Larry wants to know who wins 1-on-1 to 21 flex or girls. I'm taking flex. See, there we go. I can say nice things about you.
Okay, I
teams.
got you.
I got that lockdown defense, man.
Oh,
you don't want none of that. You don't want none of that.
Let's go. I got. Let's okay.
So you guys can play 1-on-1. We can watch Saul try to catch a punt like he said on the other show today.
There we go.
It'll be the lamest version of the Olympics we could come up with.
There
Can
we
I
go.
take winner of that 1v1?
No.
You got
okay.
it.
Yeah,
So-
it's fantastic.
You got winning. Saul's in the car listening to 50 Cent right now.
He totally is. Listen, I don't want to play any sports with you guys to get a W. I would just rather put in a same game parlay or a pick of the week
Okay.
on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So anybody got any good bets that you think are gonna hit?
Take the
In the near
Suns.
future?
Take the Suns tomorrow with a if you can get the extended spread, I think it's double digits tomorrow.
You do?
If Beal's out there, the way the Bulls are playing, they're a team that has not looked great. They had a freaking players only meeting after game one.
They did.
This team will be energized by Bradley Beal if he plays like it sounds like it. I'd hit that up.
Flex, you got any more? You seem to be winning lots of money these days.
I'm
What
cooking
else
right.
you got for us?
I'm cooking right now, but I'm gonna be honest. I've been cooking on the player props.
Okay.
The problem with me is I got to come up with some specific ones. I've been hitting a lot throughout the league, like mixing different player props. So I'll cook something up, but tomorrow specifically, I definitely say I'd go KD plus 20, plus 4 assists, Suns money line, and I like Zach LaVine to score 20 tomorrow. So if it's not Suns specific, I throw Zach LaVine in there to score 20.
All right. Well, basketball is way more fun when you got a little bit of skin in the game. So get in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use that promo code PHNX. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, with that code PHNX, the crown is yours. You guys ready? Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resorts KS, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, LA, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario, bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Let's go.
That was the best.
Well done.
That was your best
I
one.
didn't fumble a single
No, you
word
didn't.
on
That's
that.
right.
No,
one,
that was your
guys.
best one.
And
That was your
screw
best
you,
one.
Ontario. Don't forget that.
That one was very good.
Damn, again we have a Suns fan in Ontario, remember?
Until we see two.
No,
Just kidding.
I'm
Bless
sorry.
your heart.
I feel for him. Ontario is excluding him from all the fun.
Oh man.
Yeah, let him have some fun. Jeez.
I love the people of Ontario,
Okay.
but the government not allowing it is just I'm against it.
We just had to clarify for that one Suns fan that hit us up.
I know.
Screw you, government of Ontario. Is that
There we go.
better?
That's better.
I don't even know if I'm yelling at Ontario, California, Canada. I don't know, but all the Ontarios.
All of you lumped
There you
into
go.
one box. If you're looking for a little fun, our friends over at OGs know how to have fun. And right now they are hooking up all of you guys with a super bomb discount code. So right now you can get 25% off any OGs products at your neighborhood Zen Leaf location from now until November 30th when you place an order online and use our code PHNX. Now, if there's people in your life who you think would love OGs, now is a great time to stock up on some early Christmas gifts. Just check them right off your list. You get a nice little discount as well. So just head to ZenLeafDispensaries.com, Find your closest location, order your favorite OG's gummies for pickup, and enter discount code PHNX at checkout. This deal, again, exclusive for all of you guys here at PHNX. And a reminder, it is only available for online and pickup orders, and the discount code PHNX is active until November 30th. So don't miss out. Take advantage of it.
Did you say bomb?
Did
Bomb deal. Isn't that from when we were kids? Lindsay's throwing old people language into this.
Talking
Look
about
at
the
that.
bomb.
I'm just
Bomb
trying to make
diggity.
sure that you guys understand what I'm
yes,
saying.
sir.
Here we
You're
go.
welcome
Sure.
for putting
Sure.
it in a
Here
language
we
you
go.
understand.
More shots.
I'm going after everybody except Sweet Baby Angel Girth
More
there.
shots.
You really think Gerald's the sweet baby
Yes,
angel?
Gerald
Gerald
is.
cuts deep. When Gerald, listen, when Gerald comes for your neck, it's like that hits. It's hard. Trust me.
Never happened to me. That's why I
Yes,
love
it
the
has.
man.
That's why you just forgot about it. David sent us a super chat. Thank you, David. Said Nurk will be fine when all is said and done. Shout out to Busy giving DA the business. DA wasn't that great at any of this either, in my opinion. I don't really want to dive too deep into the DA comparison of Nurk because I don't think it's fair. But one of the biggest complaints about DeAndre Ayton was how consistent he was not, how inconsistent he was.
There we go.
Well, because I changed halfway through.
Yeah.
How inconsistent he was and how much money he was getting paid.
Yep.
Nurk makes a heck of a lot less than DA does. And I don't think it's fair to compare them because if you want to compare them, then you have to compare Nurk to a number one overall pick max player at this point.
Yeah.
Right. It's different expectations, but also just like in terms of the finishing, DA, the numbers back that up. He was really good finishing.
But we knew that.
He was well, you didn't know, but he was saying like, I don't think that he
Oh,
does any of that
DA
well.
finished better.
He was a really good finisher, but there are understandable qualms about the defensive focus because when he was locked in, he did do those things, but the problem was he wasn't always locked in. That's all I'm saying.
DA statistically is a good finisher.
Yes.
And I think it's fair to say that there were plenty of situations where DA did not finish around the rim, where we thought he should have easily finished around the rim. And so no player is perfect.
Right.
Statistically, he's a better finisher, and he is a better. I don't want to go there, but there was plenty of people, I'm sure, that was saying, why didn't DA dunk the ball enough? Why doesn't he finish at the rim better? Why does, so I think there's a little selective amnesia. Let these guys play their games. DA's in Portland, man. I'm tired of talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Let's talk about Kevin Durant because
Let's
he
do
is
it.
on this Phoenix Suns team.
Yay.
Through 7 games, KD is putting up 29.9 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.4 blocks per game on 52.1% shooting. And as Gerald mentioned in his article, 61.4% true shooting. Now, the biggest concern with KD is how much of the load he's being asked to carry right now. Gerald, this was one of the stats you pointed out.
Yeah, so he's got a usage rate of 33.7%, which is very high and would be a career high for him in his Hall of Fame 17-year career. It's a lot that he's being asked to carry right now. He's cracked 37 minutes in 4 of the 7 games so far. I think that it's real to say age 35 Kevin Durant is still the Kevin Durant we know and love. But the usage thing is something that's going to have to come down, and I think will come down once guys start getting healthy again.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is for how long can he be that guy at this level or in this usage and minutes and without his accompaniment of stars. We're going to hopefully see him not have to carry that load. And how much does that change his game? It's going to be a lot freer flowing. He's not going to have to force things. He's not going to have to be, the guy that is initiating offense as much and being a ball handler. And that I think we'll still see really effective games and performances like we're seeing, but at a much lesser lift, a much easier clip for him. So I'm really excited to see that because right now he has to do everything and it doesn't necessarily feel easy, even though when you look at the stat line, you're like, wow, okay, this is MVP KD. But I want to see that easier and really so we can feel like, damn, he went 11 of 12 tonight and dropped 26 and looked fantastic because he doesn't have to do every little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think over 6 games, there's not too many people on planet Earth playing better than KD.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing I look at. I to simplify things with Kevin, it's real simple. Shots taken, shot attempts.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the number that really truly defines Kevin Durant. The Laker game, he took 28 shots.
Mm-hmm.
For his career, he takes about 17. Right? That's 11 more shots than he's used to taking. And during this stretch, you're seeing him in the mid to high 20s in some games. And so that's the number that I'm more concerned with. And I think when I start seeing 30-point games from KD on 17 shots, that's the Kevin we signed up for. And so that will happen once Book and Beal come back. But until then, he's got to take a lot of shots, man. I mean, it's just the way of the business right now, but I think he'll be okay.
And that's something that he touched on too. He told us, like, I'm not that guy. I don't want to be the guy taking 20 plus shots. That's never been really my game, but I will when I have to.
Yeah.
Right now it has felt like he had to for stretches, especially. And Suns fan 303 brought it up in the chat as well. We do have some shooters who have been hesitating a little bit on the perimeter. Yuta a couple of times, Grayson at times. As these guys start to get more and more comfortable with their new surroundings, their new teammates, hopefully they'll be letting it fly a little bit more. Yuta had that 2-game stretch where he didn't shoot well. He played a lot better in the Pistons game. Same with Grayson. It was his first road game where he really looked good. So these are things to keep an eye on. But having willing shooters helps space the floor a lot better than what we've seen, because it has been a process learning, when to cut, when to space, where to space with KD and all the attention that he gets.
Yeah, well, and I think when he doesn't have to carry the load like he did in like a last second shot like he took against the Spurs didn't look like your typical KD kind of shot, because at that point he's exhausted, right? In a game where he's not having to carry that load and you go to him for a final shot, I think we have a different ending there in that case and point. And like our friend Dave King brought up yesterday, I think Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon are averaging like less than 2 points combined in the fourth quarter. That changes dramatically when you have Beal and Booker back, which means KD doesn't have to be that guy.
Yeah.
And right now he has to be that guy. There's no other choice.
And there are 2 guys, though, who we could maybe ask a little bit more of, specifically on the road. Let's talk a little bit about Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon, their home versus road splits. We'll start with Grayson Allen at home. So Grayson Allen at home, you love to see it.
Dynamite.
Right? 17.3 points per game, 58.6 a field goal percentage, 63.2 3-point percentage. Like, not mad at this at all.
No,
come on down,
guys.
Grayson Allen.
Flamethrower.
However, Grayson Allen on the road, a little bit rough, okay? A little bit rough. We're talking 7 points per game, shooting 35.5%, and then 29.3% from deep.
Isn't that typical, though?
It's so...
Not
But
that
it's a little
much.
drastic
It's
for right now.
No,
it's a little drastic.
because short sample size. But I mean,
It
that's typical. Role
Right.
players play better at home.
It is. And role players also play better when they're in the role that
In
they're
the role
gonna
they're
be
supposed to be.
filling. Because right now,
Correct.
they're both having to start. They're having to handle the ball, being primary playmakers on offense. That's not going to be what the Suns ask of them unless they're sharing minutes off the bench together. And in that case, they will be staggered with at least one of the big 3 when they're doing that anyway. My thing is just like, it's felt like at times on the road so far, and again, these are 3-4 game sample sizes we're talking about. It's felt like Grayson on the road has not been as involved. He's been kind of spacing. He's been more passive. He and the Suns need to find a way to get him better involved. The Pistons game was a step in the right direction in that regard. That was the first game where I think he reached double digits in the scoring column on the road. So that's a positive start. That's kind of scary. His 7 points per game could be a lot lower if not for that game.
Right.
But it is one of those things where you want to see them more involved, especially during this stretch where, Book's out. Maybe Beal is back for Wednesday. Maybe he's not. We'll see. But they need to find a way to keep that offense moving and not devolve into kind of the KD ISO heavy stuff that we've seen, because that can wear on a player as well. That adds to his workload too.
Yeah.
Well, what we've seen, this team's best when that ball's whipping around, right? Offensively. But if if guys are playing like this on the road and aren't confident enough, that slows things down because they get hesitant, all those things. But I get what you're saying, that it is typical that a guy plays worse on the road than
A
at
role
home and
player.
a role player,
Yeah.
but it can't be
That drastic,
what is that, 34% different in three-point shooting?
Yeah.
I mean, and I get it, small number, but still, that you got to close that gap to make things a little bit better.
This is the type of number that, again, it shows a picture, small sample size.
Mm-hmm.
What's he for his career? Like that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Better
for his career,
better than 29%.
Now, if you tell me he's been in the league 7 years and those numbers look like that for 7 years, then yeah, we have a serious problem with Grayson Allen home versus road.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm almost gonna bet anything right now that the numbers don't look anything like that for the career.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's a short sample size plus a lot of changes in the rotations, a lot of changes in roles, so it's looking a lot more drastic. And I go back to that Dallas series. You remember the Dallas series?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, them role guys in Dallas were absolutely insane.
Right.
Now they finally broke out in Phoenix for Game 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I remember that series. It was like looking at two entirely different teams. They hit every damn shot at home and then came on the road and came back to earth, and that's typical of role players in the NBA.
But I think you can flip it.
But I do see what Gerald's saying. I'm not arguing Gerald's point at all. I don't want nobody to think that. I'm just saying it's very early.
But I think you can flip it in reverse and look at it as a positive, right? Because yeah, sure, when you see that, but that likely won't play out. What Gerald's saying here, I think, and sorry to put words in your mouth, but that this is a positive because the chances that Grayson Allen shoots 29% on the road from three are slim to none. So even though things have looked frustrating at times this year, that's the hope in this, is that this stat does not hold out long term.
And looking at his numbers for the last 2 years, last year at home, it was about 11 points, 46% shooting, 44 from three. On the road, it was just under 10 points, 41% shooting, 35% from three. So there was a dip there, but the season before, he was actually slightly better on the road. So it's one of those things where...
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm telling you there's a chance Grayson Allen's going to be a lot better than the 35% shooter that he's been on the road so far.
Yeah.
And then Eric Gordon, similar from an efficiency standpoint. So Eric Gordon at home, 16 points per game, shooting 60.6% from the field, 44.4% from deep. And then Eric Gordon on the road, 14.8 points per game, shooting 39.3% from the field and 30.8% from deep. So efficiency-wise, dropped a little bit there for Eric Gordon.
They've been lights out at home. They've been rough on the road. But again, last year, Eric Gordon, pretty similar shooting splits. He actually averaged more points on the road. 3-point percentage dipped quite a bit, about 8 points from home to road. But again, these are guys that are being asked. Yeah. These are guys that are being asked to do more than what they should be expected to do and have actually done really well. If you look at their overall numbers between the two, we don't want to make it seem like they've been terrible or anything like that. Because Grayson, I think scoring, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage so far would be career highs if they held up. So these guys, and Gordon's a veteran. He knows like the Pistons game, we saw him putting his head down, driving because the Pistons couldn't stop him. So he knows what he needs to do. Grayson Allen, starter for one of the best teams in basketball the last 2 years. Yeah. These guys are going to be just fine.
Yeah. There's room to grow.
Yeah.
Progress to be made.
This is why, like I keep saying, the 20 games is my thing.
Right.
Like, because it's such a small sample size right now. How many road games have we had?
4.
Yep. So four road games.
7 total.
7 total.
Right.
When we get to 20 and it's like more of an equal balance, then these things are really gonna hold up. But I just believe in both these guys a lot. Like, I think you said it yourself, 70 games for the best team in basketball. He started last year. Played, you know what I mean? So this is a guy that knows how to get it done. Has been around the block a couple times, and whatever this is looking like, it'll clear up.
Flex, you know what I believe in?
Yeah, go ahead, talk to me.
Queso, burritos, tacos, nachos, and everything else that Illegal Pete's has on their menu. I fully believe in it. Illegal Pete's is fantastic, and it's your go-to spot this fall. It's patio season. It's officially here, you guys. We can sit outside and have an ice cold margarita or a delightful beer. Happy hour happens every single day at Illegal Pete's from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. at all 12 locations, which is super awesome. And Illegal Pete's, it's just the go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer, and it has been for 28 years. So make sure you check them out.
And at my age, you need the happy hour because dinner's at 4 p.m.
Right,
so you
exactly.
Get that cheaper food.
So, and this starts at 3. So
Yeah.
it's literally perfect. It's
Perfect.
built for you,
Yeah,
Espo.
I know it is.
God, so great to be you right now. You should also join Circle K's Inner Circle because you get even more perks when you join Circle K's Inner Circle. It's a brand new free membership program. You save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You also get every 6 free on a selection of Circle K products like pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, and so much more. So join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
What is an app?
I'll show you on your phone. I'll help you.
What is a phone? No.
I'll help you.
All right,
I'll show
thank
you.
you.
Okay, guys. The in-season tournament is just around the corner. Games have already begun. The Suns will play their first one on Friday for as far as like what counts towards the in-season tournament, which means Friday's going to be fun for a variety of reasons. We get the El Valle jerseys for the first time. We get the El Valle in-season court for the first time. And this game counts for a little something extra. How are you guys feeling as a whole? I don't think we've really talked a ton about the in-season tournament since the off-season when it first became a thing. How are you guys feeling so far now that you've got more information? Things have already kind of started. You're seeing the courts in action. Where are you guys at?
I mean, if I never have to see the Indy court again, I'll be happy with that. But honestly, I'm excited by that. Irrationally excited about this because I get it. Look, it's an in-season tournament. It doesn't mean a lot right now, but the meaning comes eventually when people start to really enjoy this. Younger players come up through the system and see, hey, this is part of what it means to be an NBA player if they keep it that long. I'm excited for it. And when you get to Vegas, the Final Four in Vegas, I think that's when everything is going to change in people's minds because they'll be like, oh, this is interesting and it's exciting and it's different. And I know they're trying to do that with the courts, and I like that because then you visually can tell when a tournament game's going on. But look, the average American fan isn't really into group play. That's a soccer thing. It's an Olympic thing. You kind of put up with it every 4 years when you're watching USA basketball. I think this is an educational thing. And eventually, once people catch up, I think they're going to like it more.
I like it, man. I like it. I think it's been fun. I think the courts have been cool. I think the fans are getting excited. Here's what I will say. I think it means less for teams like us, like championship contenders. I think it means less. And I say that because like in Summer League, when the Suns were bad, Summer League meant something. Like I used to get excited to watch Summer League and see if the Suns can actually win a Summer League championship when we were winning 19
But it wasn't
games.
about the Summer League championship. It was what young guy could potentially come in and
It was
turn
about,
this around. No?
For me, it was about Summer League championship.
See, I got excited about Summer League because I was like, is this going to be the guy that gets us out of this dark place?
No, so obviously you enjoyed the player, right? You're looking forward to the development of the player. But you also kind of look forward to that team group holding up a trophy because we haven't seen anything like that in so damn long. It's like, yo, that'd be cool to come into a season with a young Summer League champion. And so I say all that to say there's about 20 teams in the NBA that know they're not going to win a championship.
Yeah.
And that fan base, the in-season tournament is more exciting for them. Because they have a chance at this.
That's fair. I feel like from a player perspective, our team should be excited for it because we got a bunch of guys on vet minimums. And an extra $500,000 is not a bad bump.
Yeah, and even if you make the quarterfinals or the semifinals,
You do
like I
still
think
get a little
you
bit,
still
right?
get like 10K, 50K, 100K, and then 200. Like you still, if you make it to the final 8, you're going to get at least something as one of those role guys. It gets pricier as you go along. But I've loved the in-season tournament idea. I've been on board with this since day one. I feel like the people that are not giving it a chance are just hating on something to hate on something because we as fans sometimes don't like change, and we complain about the regular season not meaning anything, and people don't tune in until after Christmas. And then the NBA does something to try to address that, and it's a money grab. All of it's a money grab if we're going to look
Everything
at it that way.
grab.
Like the whole season, the fact that it's
league.
82 games instead of a nicer 50 or 60, which would actually help the players avoid injury. Like, you could all say it's a money grab. So for me, I love the wacky courts. I love the fact that we're giving more reason to care about these November and December basketball games. And it could be a fun tradition. Like, what you get out of this in-season tournament is what you were going to put into it as a fan, because all of these other, you know, cups and mid-season tournaments that other leagues have, like soccer around the world, they didn't just happen overnight. Like, it's years of lore. It's years of tradition. It's years of, do you remember a couple years ago when this game happened in the in-season championship game? Like, that type of stuff. If the players care, the fans will care. And if you're a real basketball fan, the worst that this is anyway is just another regular season game disguised as something else, dressed up as something else. So, like, I don't understand
because
the
it's
backlash to this in-season tournament at all.
It's only 2 teams that are playing an extra game. And
Right.
if your team doesn't make it and you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it.
Right.
Thank you,
It's
Gerald.
a positive.
Because everybody wants a league to be innovative. They want a league to try to figure out ways to be more entertaining, to try things. The NBA has been at the forefront of this for years, but then it's, well, why are you doing it? I got to crap on it. Do you want to be Major League Baseball that's dying a slow death because they've got a bunch of old white guys at the top that don't want to rethink anything, and all that matters is holding on to tradition that made you America's game in 1955? No, you want a league that's out there trying things. They'll be the first major sports league that'll have a major package on streaming television after next year. They have an in-season tournament. They try different things. They try to make it more entertaining and interesting for us, the fans. And I do not understand why everybody has to complain about that. I get it. The courts and some of these teams look stupid, but the idea behind it, so you visually know that there's an in-season tournament
I love
game,
that.
brilliant.
Yes.
And not everything will be executed perfectly, but having them try something should be applauded, because all people do is, like you said, complain basketball doesn't matter till Christmas. Then they give you something to try to make it more interesting. You go, well, it's just a money grab. Like Gerald said, everything's a money grab in professional sports. It's a business. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, and you want a commissioner in your league who wears Skims underwear.
No,
So, like,
I did not need to know that.
get
Yeah,
on
that
board,
was-
you guys.
Oh my
That was
God.
too much for me.
I
That's
thought
too
that
much,
was
too much
hilarious.
innovation, Adam.
I mean, you probably get them for
Hilarious.
free, so, you
That's
know.
true.
but-
I mean, at the end of the day, like, all of these games are regular season games. They just have a little something extra on them, except for that final game. And so if you don't want to partake, you can just watch them as if they're regular season games. Or if you want to be a cool kid and enjoy it,
I mean,
you can be a part of the in-season tournament too.
I really don't see what the problem is. It's a regular season basketball game. It counts towards a regular season basketball game. The court is different, and there's a little tournament going on. I just don't see the backlash. Like, I don't understand it.
And I will
It
say, we
doesn't-
got a stat to back up that the in-season tournament does actually help breed more competition, because I think the NBA released this, but Friday's games, the first night of in-season tournament games, the margin of victory average was 4.9 points, which is the second smallest on a single night, minimum of 7 games in the
Wow.
last 10 seasons.
Damn.
Last 10 seasons, you're getting competitive basketball. If you want to watch competitive basketball, who cares what they call it and what they dress up the courts as? You're getting competitive basketball in November. That's the goal here. So, like, what do we have to complain about?
Maybe they need to pay fans for when their team makes it to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Oh no, people will find a way to complain about that too. It's not enough money for me as a fan.
Okay, but it would be super cool if you got if your team makes it and everyone, you get to give away like 10,000 jerseys on
Damn.
the NBA's dime.
I like that.
10,000, okay.
Like, by the way,
that
it's
would
a
be
lot.
pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking how many fans are in an arena, right?
Yeah. No, that's
A
fair.
little more than 10,000.
Mhm.
So at the very least, you got to cover at least half of that.
Yeah.
Soul Collector says, so Espo basically just said, quote, what Gerald said. Yeah, but I said it louder than Gerald said it. And that's what makes it important.
I like that every fan base has something to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is the win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so Tyrese Halliburton came out last week and said, quote, I think the greatest incentive for everybody to do it would be an automatic playoff bid. If it was a playoff spot, I think everyone would take it very seriously, right? So how do you guys feel about the incentive that comes with the in-season tournament of just being a cash prize and not a playoff prize?
No, because like that defeats the whole purpose of having an in-season tournament. If it relates to the tournament at the end of the year, then it's not an in-season tournament. And then that puts one team in a position where it's like, okay, well, I guess we could play for seeding, but like we are guaranteed a playoff spot. Then it becomes really difficult to manage the rest of the entire season in terms of how you're approaching it. You're going to be dealing with more situations where you got load management. If you're a contender team and know you're going to be good around that time, like it puts senioritis in your head in December for a season that's going to last another 4 months. I don't like that idea at all, honestly.
No, that's a terrible idea.
See,
like you said, it's
go
a
ahead, sorry.
No, it's a tournament. I mean, it's an in-season tournament. It should have no tie to what happens at the end of the year, and it's very gimmicky if you start doing that. It's very gimmicky because the Suns are not whole right now. Mm-hmm. So if you had an in-season tournament early in the year and you got a healthier team versus it just doesn't make sense. You're going to give somebody a playoff spot for something they did in the first 15 games? Like, are we kidding me? That makes no sense.
Let's get real innovative. All right. Let's think beyond, the norm. What if you get an extra $10 million on your cap for that next summer?
That'd be dope.
Or you get an extra, 5 second-round picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sam Presti is going all in to win this thing now. But I think there's little things like that you could do to make it more important for the franchise. But for the player,
an extra exception, like a mid-level.
Or hey, everybody on the roster next year, if gets 10% added to their salary.
Yeah. Here's what I like. This is the only one I've liked of all the ideas. Mm-hmm. A supplemental draft pick. You add one pick to the end of the first round for the in-season champion, and that team gets an extra late first-round pick.
But does that motivate the player? Like, but my thing is I think people are like, well, what's the motivation for the players?
Why do we got to motivate the players? They're making $250 million. Go out there and play a game.
You look at the All-Star game. It's been a conversation.
But these are regular season games.
I know, but it's still like the question is asked because of the All-Star game as an example. I get these are regular season games, and that's why I think it's so smart that you are going to get good basketball within this tournament because they are regular season games. But I think just from even just like how they talk about it, getting hype around that type of stuff, you look at the All-Star game as an example. They do kind of need to be incentivized.
All-Star game, yes.
But that one, I have a problem with we need to find ways to properly motivate the players. Because again, these games, except for the championship game, if you make it that far, they all count towards your regular season total. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be having to do just the pride thing alone and the cash prize for each player. I know that doesn't mean as much to a Kevin Durant or a Devin Booker, but it does to guys like 5 through 15 on the roster for sure, that extra money that they could win. And these guys, they want to win every game they go out and play anyway. Not every team has the means to actually do that. But when you put these guys on the floor and tell them it's for a little bit extra, I honestly do think, as much as they say, we're not really motivated, it's just going through the motions, the margin of victory in the game so far has said otherwise. And it's going to continue to increase the further we get into this first mid-season tournament. I think guys are going to care more because it is slightly elevated stakes, even if they, quote, mean nothing to the average fan.
As Don Draper said to Peggy Olson, that's what the money's for. If you're not motivated to do your job because you're getting paid to, you probably need a new profession, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're paid.
But they are doing their job. Technically, this is going above and beyond. And so is the All-Star game.
And that's why they get a bonus.
Going above and beyond?
It's actually technically make the argument.
Okay, if you make the championship.
Is to play the the game of basketball for 82 games a year plus playoffs.
Okay.
Right. They're playing 82 games. There's only
That
2
83rd
teams.
game is not
That's
technically
why you
a
get the
one-man
bonus.
job.
But
Which
that's
is why
only
you
2
get an extra
teams.
500K
Listen,
or 200K.
I'm on your guys' team. I'm just playing devil's
Right,
advocate
right,
here. I'm
right,
sorry.
right.
Didn't mean to get
Come
you
on,
guys.
Jesse.
Gotcha.
How about
But
this?
here,
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
How about this? And I see, as somebody that sat in an organization like you and I have, what if part of it is you get a bonus for everybody in that organization? So then you're playing for those people that take care of the arena, that do the little things for you, that
Okay.
market. So
Yes.
then, I mean, granted, there's some guys, you know, I'm guessing Dylan Brooks doesn't give a shit about the people in there based on the guy we've seen. But, you know,
but
people
it feels
that
bigger
care.
than you. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, even with the jersey thing. Like, it's
Yeah.
bigger than you at that point. Your whole city or your franchise, your fan base, whatever, a lot of people get rewarded for it.
So why Dallas tanked the last game of the year last year
Mhm.
and held their fan base from a potential playoff appearance?
Yeah, their fans should have gotten refunds.
No, but why did they do that?
To keep a draft pick.
There we go. Right? To
Mhm.
to keep a draft pick. And the fans
Yeah,
seemed
which
to
was
understand.
stupid.
No, but the fans at the end of the day, fans got behind it because they might have got Wemby. Right? Or they
Right.
right? So they got behind it. If you're the Phoenix
And they
Suns and
didn't.
you just gave up everything for KD and everything for Beal, you're not supposed to feel like you can get a first round pick back as a player for your organization.
I don't.
So I think they're underselling that. I think the money is less. I don't think they care about the money. Yeah, the guys at the end of the bench, the Saban Lees and them, they do. But I don't think the top tier play. That's why Halliburton just got paid. Halliburton just got paid.
Right.
Super max. And he's saying, I don't give a damn about the money. Give me a playoff berth.
Halliburton's looking at that roster, looking around and going, winning an in-season tournament might be my only chance to get in the playoffs. So maybe I could have that as
So,
my incentive.
There's a couple thoughts in the chat that I like. So Suns fan 303 said the only thing missing from the in-season tournament is home court advantage for the winner regardless of seeding. That could be interesting. Cameron said automatic play-in spot, not playoff spot. So this one I could actually get on board with. I think if you gave the two teams who make it to the finals a play-in spot, I think that could be an interesting way to sort of like not fully give them a playoff spot, but kind of incentivize them a little bit more in that sense.
What about this? The winner can choose or has one of their losses removed from the season and they get an extra win. So now their winning percentage is slightly better.
Maybe.
Unless they're in the draft lottery, then they can choose to not have that win added. Like, we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, I
here at
honestly
this
think
point.
it's good.
I
as
think
is,
it's
to be
fine the
Yes.
way it is.
I don't know. I think David hit the nail on the head here. Winning team gets to pick which game Scott Foster officiates.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There we
There
go.
you go, David.
David,
Nailed it.
did it.
Winning ticket.
All
Sir,
season, though.
send it to the top.
Yep.
Adam Silver, where you at? You need to hear what David has to say.
All
Now,
season,
that makes perfect sense.
all season you're gonna pick it. So Chris Paul's got to deal with Scott Foster every game.
Oh man.
Chris Paul is going to work as hard as he possibly
He
can
would.
to win
Sure
that
is.
tournament.
Put together the best
Bless
stretch he
his
ever
heart.
has.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right, guys. Well, I'm excited for this tournament. I think it'll be
Hell yeah.
interesting. I'm excited to see the court and the jerseys in action on Friday. But first, we do have a game tomorrow that we got to handle. And make sure you guys join us for that one. Pre-game, 30 minutes before the game tips off, and post-game, of course. And then we also have a super chat that we have to round out the show with here. All text, my goodness gracious, said, thank you for your super chat, but Lord have mercy. Should Espo be the starting point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies or the starting center for the Washington Wizards?
I think the only answer
Wizards
is
for sure.
yes,
Yeah.
both.
The Washington
Wizard
Wizards.
is such a funny word.
I might get Risposito on the back of a jersey
Oh.
just for
Look at
you,
what
my
guys
yeasty
did.
bros in the chat.
That's
Dang, chat. Look
crazy.
at what you guys did. Oh, man.
I hate it.
Joe said I hate it here. About to be an Eric Bledsoe
Philadelphia
tweet coming
70
from him.
Rizzers.
All right. We're going to go. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. and also subscribe so you never miss a show. If you are listening wherever you get your podcast, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe because it helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, you can give the show a follow on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
My man Flex ain't that old. And I'll text. I'll take you up on that if you want to buy the jersey. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.